Well, hello there. This is Dr. Karen May, and I am the owner of Momentum Health Centers and doctor here. Today is Empower Hour, and I am super encouraged because this came from this neuropathy empowerment group. There's great questions being asked, and enough of you asked the same question that I decided to create a video on it. I had no intention of doing it until later, but you asked and we're answering. So I need to make certain that you understand this is for educational purposes. Your body is individual. Please make certain that you've discussed it with one of your physicians as well. So for your individual case, this is for education. But I also want to give you action steps too. So like I posted in the thread, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to get a little scientific and geek out on you here. So please understand that some of you are going to want to know the why behind it. I'm going to do that. Some of you are going to want to know how I found this out. I'll tell you that. And other of you just want to know how much to take. And that's where I caution you. I will do that too. But you take a few minutes and listen to this, because just taking it because someone said, I think I'm going to reveal a few things that you may have not learned in anything else with reading on alpha lipoic acid. So I do have notes up because there's a lot of numbers and things like that that I want to cover. So just so you're aware, I'm going to give you a background of what alpha lipoic acid is, what it does in the body, what the research is saying about it, dosage, and then I'm going to talk about side effects too. So there is a few side effects with this that you need to be aware of. So you have to take this and look at your whole picture and see if this is worth it for you to take. But I am going to tell you, here's my big warning, is I can pretty much guarantee you the brand you're buying at the average store is not going to be the one that's actually been researched, studied, and shown to show improvement. And so I will give you some resources for that as well. So let's dive in. Here's what alpha lipoic acid is. It is actually something that's naturally occurring in some of the foods that we eat, and I'll talk about those here too. But it's called an antioxidant. So backing up, when antioxidants are designed to take and eat up and garble up what's called free radicals. So alpha lipoic acid is in every cell. And this is where it helps turn glucose or sugar that our body has into energy. So it's the whole goal of alpha lipoic acid. An antioxidant is where waste products are created when your body turns the food you eat into energy. And those free radicals, they cause harmful side effects, chemical reactions that damage cells, making it harder for the body to fight off infections. And they can also damage organs and tissues. So that's what antioxidants are, and alpha lipoic is in every cell in our body to help balance out that free radical damage. So here's what you need to know. Alpha lipoic acid, there's been several studies that suggest that alpha lipoic acid helps to lower blood sugar levels. Well, if it's supposed to in a cell help glucose turn into energy in every cell, that's how it's doing it. For those of you that truly want to geek out, I'll be more than happy to share the study. I'm not going to go into the biochemistry of it here. But so what happens is this is what you may not know. If you have diabetic neuropathy, that's where the studies have shown alpha lipoic acid has research behind it, because what it does is it's the ability to kill free radicals in people with the diabetic, and that's the burning, the tingling, the numbness. So, but what it also does is it improves insulin sensitivity. Now, in Germany, they have used alpha lipoic acid for years, but they've used it in IV. I do not know any doctor in my local area, even a natural medical doctor, who's using IV alpha lipoic acid. So there's not a ton of research. There's a little bit, but it's a little fuzzy as to, does it actually help with diabetic peripheral neuropathy if you're taking it orally, and as to which dose. So first takeaway, alpha lipoic acid is designed for people with diabetic neuropathy. That's where the studies have been shown. So there's no guarantee if you don't have diabetes, but yet have neuropathy, that it can make a big difference. Now, it is an antioxidant. There's good things to it, so it's not going to hurt you in taking some, but it could lower your blood sugar too much. So that's one of the side effects. But now, so we know it can do its job in diabetic neuropathy, but we don't know if taking it by mouth is actually as beneficial as doing IV. And like I said, in our area, we don't know. In my area, you may have a doctor who's doing it, but I don't know anyone locally. But now let's talk about, because there's two forms of alpha lipoic acid. This is where, when you read the back of your bottle, it's just going to say alpha lipoic acid. And it's going to say serving size. It's probably going to say 300 or 600 milligrams per serving size. You got to look, is that 1 capsule, 2 capsule, 4 capsules, to know if you're getting the actual right stuff. But this is what you really need to look for. There's two forms of alpha lipoic acid. There's the S-lipoic acid and R-lipoic acid. The S-lipoic acid, it's not found in nature. It literally is a byproduct of a chemical synthesis of what's called racemic alpha lipoic acid, and that's just it's laboratory made. And so actually they have found that it actually may inhibit some of the interactions with proteins and enzymes in genes. So it doesn't actually help. So for those of you that have tried alpha lipoic acid, if it doesn't say R alpha lipoic acid or R lipoic acid, it's not going to do its job. It's synthetic and your body's not going to recognize it. So no wonder why it didn't work for you. The R alpha lipoic acid or R lipoic acid, it's naturally occurring in plants and animals in our human body. And again, it's responsible for the it's for the specific beneficial effects of the alpha lipoic acid. It actually is the only form that functions as a cofactor, what's called mitochondrial enzyme involvement. What does that mean? Mitochondria are where the energy production in every cell. So it actually helps as a precursor to make more energy. So it's important to know, are you getting the S lipoic acid or the R lipoic acid? Now let's take it another level. There's the reduced form of the R lipoic acid, which is also okay, and that's called R dihydrolipoic acid, or DHLA. So R DHLA, and that's the reduced form. Whew. What does that mean? Read the back of your bottle. Are you actually getting the R alpha lipoic acid, or are you not? So before you just start spending money on taking something, make certain it's actually it's useless if it's not in the right form. So now let's talk about dosage. Again, I have plenty of research to back this, and one of the studies was showing that an oral dose of 600 milligrams once a day seem to provide the optimum risk to benefit ratio for what we need. There are adverse effects, so biggest one being nausea. So if you've taken 12, and that's usually seen about 1200 milligrams. I'm going to cover some other side effects to be aware of, but that about 21% of this study had the nausea taking the 1200 milligrams. So it's 600 milligrams is what seems to be beneficial. So more is not always better, and there could be side effects with it. And what we're seeing, again, don't forget, what does it do? It takes the glucose in the cell and makes it into energy, and it does it by helping to get the mitochondria to produce more energy. So diabetes is where the bulk of the research is done. So it says oral treatment with alpha lipoic acid for 5 weeks improved neuropathic symptoms and deficits in 187 patients with diabetic polyneuropathy. So, but that's encouraging because some of the deficits are a major risk factor into creating those neuropathic foot ulcers. So a lot of people who have diabetes, but even people who have just poor circulation, and we talk a lot about microcirculation in healing neuropathy. If you have poor circulation and you cut yourself, that's not going to heal, and you can get that ulcer. Bigger risk factor if you have diabetes, but let me tell you, you can still have those ulcers without having diabetes. So again, adverse side effects are mainly nausea, and that's in about 1200 milligrams of the dose. So if you're going to do it, you want to make certain that you're getting the R form, of the alpha lipoic acid, or you're getting the DHLA, which is the reduced form of the alpha lipoic acid. And about 600 milligrams is what it looks like. Now, side effects, because the design is to improve insulin sensitivity and lower blood sugar is one of these pathways that alpha lipoic works with. You got to look for low blood sugar. Also, so like hypoglycemic, so headache, hunger, weakness, dizziness, irritability, faster heart rate, feeling jittery. That means that's like a feeling of lightheadedness. That's low blood sugar. So if you don't have diabetes, taking it may not be of benefit to you. And then the common side effects are nausea and sometimes a light skin rash. So those are the main side effects of taking too much. So let's recap. You got to make certain you understand what it does. It's an antioxidant. Antioxidants help to eat up the free radicals. Free radicals happen just by naturally eating and what your body does when it's processing. So it helps on that level. It goes into the cell, and when it's in the cell, it actually helps with the glucose regulation, which then creates energy. So a little further is the cells that make energy are mitochondria. So it helps the mitochondria work better to make energy. So that's how it works. So it's more designed for diabetic neuropathy. You need the right forms. So to recap the forms, there's S and R. S is the unnatural form, meaning it is chemically made and it is not shown to be beneficial. R is the natural form. It occurs in plants. It also occurs in some meat and organs. I have to pull up my list of foods. So give me a minute here because there's great foods in here too. I'll post the foods because it's not coming up quickly and I don't want to cancel my camera. But I know it was like sweet potatoes and spinach and organ meats. So those are the foods that you can eat to help to get naturally occurring alpha lipoic acid that is already in the reduced form. So that's alpha lipoic acid. If you're still in this and stayed on to this Empower Hour, please know that the best way is to reduce inflammation, because then you're reducing glucose anyways. And if you're reducing glucose anyways, in blood sugar, that just makes you healthier overall. And we have plenty of Empower Hours how you can use food as medicine in order to help that. So please don't think you need to start taking supplements to reduce blood sugar. You can do it using food as medicine. So keep posting here in the Empower Hour, post your questions, because like I said, if there's enough interest in there, I'll make one of these and I will give you my information and I'll give you research and always give you a food to help with it. So thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to Empower Hour next week. Keep posting in this group. I love seeing in the interactions, and just remember, use food as medicine. Thank you so much. Bye.